The Johnson family was entirely split throughout the Brexit campaign. Father Stanley, daughter Rachel and fellow brother Joe campaigned for Remain, while son Boris was a leading figure in the Leave campaign. But now, Stanley has revealed he has made the shift away from his pro-European Union stance and now believes it's time to bail out of the Brussels project. He blamed the rhetoric of President Macron and Mr. Juncker, insisting they are taking the EU train in the wrong direction. Mr. Johnson told BBC Daily Politics, "I have given some thought to this. We've been thinking like mad, as you can imagine, over the last 18 months. Getty Brexit news. Stanley Johnson turns his back on EU support after Juncker and Macron speeches. I have said to myself, actually, this train is heading in the wrong direction. Stanley Johnson. I have finally come to the conclusion, having read Mr. Juncker's speech to the European Parliament in September, and having looked at Macron's, I have said to myself, actually, this train is heading in the wrong direction. Even I thought the environmental thing was tremendously important. There are other really big issues, and now is the time to bail out." Mr. Johnson, a former Conservative MEP, said from his own experience Mr. Juncker's speech signals a definite push toward a more federalized Europe, which Britain should not be a part. I said we needed to be in there to save them from themselves, Mr. Johnson added. I don't think we can do that any longer. That train has left the station and we can bail out before it hits the buffers. Carolyn Lucas, the co-leader of the Green Party, who was also involved in the BBC discussion, was concerned that the Mr. Juncker speech was the pivot in Mr. Johnson's views. She said, "I think this shows it's a complete misunderstanding. Anything that Juncker was talking about, in terms of greater integration, would require a change to the treaties. A change to the treaties requests unanimities of council members, all the different member states of Europe, and you only need to look at the response Juncker's speech received, not just in the UK, but for example, the Danish Prime Minister was slapping him down almost before he'd finished speaking." Friday, September 29, 2017. German Chancellor Angela Merkel gestures prior to the tour de table of the Tallinn Digital Summit. During a European Union summit in Tallinn, Estonia, the Dutch Prime Minister was saying, if that's his vision, he needs to go to the opticians. This would require unanimity, and there is clearly not unanimity at all within the Council. Juncker has only got another couple of years to go before he finishes his term, and he said he's not going to stay for a further one. I would just appeal to Stanley to remember the powerful things he said when he and I shared a platform, when we were talking in the referendum campaign.